There are words that stay with us for a lifetime, becoming part of our very blood and soul. For a woman, the most sacred word is the tender call, "Mom!" It is the first cry of a child learning to walk, when they stumble, or when a fever makes them weep. It is the voice that rings out from the kitchen, when the dinner table fills with steam. "Mom, I'm hungry!" It is the call across the schoolyard, when a little boy runs out of class with a paper marked with a perfect score. "Mom, did I do well?" It is the whisper under winter blankets, when the little girl turns her head and murmurs, "Mom, I'm afraid of the dark." For years, that voice is a woman's breath, her joy, her reason to go on. One single word, "Mom," is enough to erase back pain, to forget the sweat and labor in the fields or the factory. But then, one day, the house grows silent. The voice that once filled every corner, warm, familiar, alive, suddenly disappears. Forever. The story opens on a fall afternoon. In a small wooden house on the outskirts of town, an elderly mother sits alone in a worn armchair. The late sun filters through the window, falling across a face lined with years. Beside her rests a landline phone, silent and cold. Once, every evening, that phone would come to life, and a bright, familiar voice would say, "Mom, I'm so busy today, but I just wanted to call so you wouldn't worry." Just a few words, but her heart warmed as though wrapped in light. Now, the screen remains empty. No one calls. No one says, "Mom," from the other end anymore. She remembers the early years. The very first time her child said "Mom," tears streamed down her face. That little voice was her whole world. She lived her youth raising her child, just to hear that one word again and again. She remembers hurried mornings, the voice echoing down the stairs. "Mom, I forgot my book." She remembers the chatter at dinner. "Mom, I was praised in class today." She remembers even the angry tears. "Mom, why don't you understand me?" Whether joy or sorrow, love or frustration, that word, "Mom," was the sweetest sound she had ever known. Suffocation. Silent until she hears nothing but her own aging heartbeat. She does not fear growing old. She does not fear dying. What she fears most is this silence, because it tells her no one will ever call you Mom again. At memorials, one often hears elderly mothers whisper at the graves of their children, "My child, it's been so long since anyone called me Mom. I miss your voice so much." Those whispers vanish into the wind, but they carry an ocean of tears. A woman in her 70s once said, "When I was young, all I wished for was a little peace and quiet. But now, surrounded by silence, all I long for is to hear someone call me Mom, just once more." Back in the little wooden house, the mother sits with trembling hands on the silent phone. She closes her eyes, and in memory she hears it. "Mom!" That voice is clear, strong, pulling her back to a time when the world was still filled with laughter and life. But when she opens her eyes, the room is empty. Only the autumn wind moves the thin curtain at the window. On that day she understands. For the rest of her life, she may never again hear anyone call her Mom. And perhaps, as you hear this story, you too remember a voice once dear to you, a voice that called your name, a voice now lost in time. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to NewGoldenDay so we can continue walking together through these journeys of memory. I promise, the stories yet to come will move you even more deeply and help us find comfort in shared remembrance. There was one day that the mother would never forget. A day when the sky seemed to turn grey, and the whole world around her suddenly felt foreign. It was the day her child left her. Not just for school, not for work, not for a trip far away, but left her forever. Some farewells arrive in silence, like a sudden winter wind. An illness, an accident, a war in a distant land, each leaving behind only a hollow space. The elderly mother remembers the last voice clearly. It might have been a promise. "Mom, I'll be home soon." It might have been a weak voice over the phone. "Mom, I'm so tired." Clothes, the shoes, the half-read book. She did this not because she refused to accept the truth, but because she was afraid. Afraid that if she put them away, even the memory of that word mom would vanish too. One grieving mother once said through tears, "I am not afraid of death. I only fear that from today on, no one will ever call me mom again. From today, this house will hold only me and silence." Those who heard her wept, because her words were not hers alone. They were the sorrow of countless mothers across the world. And if someone asks, what truly makes an old mother grow old? It is not grey hair. It is not slow steps. It is that moment. The moment she realizes the word mom has disappeared forever. When the funeral ends, when the flowers wilt, when the mourners go home, only one figure remains, a mother returning to her familiar house. But from that day, the house is no longer the same. Every corner, every object, every breath reminds her of her child. The chair where they once sat now stands empty. The desk still holds an unfinished book. The coat, still carrying their scent, hangs quietly behind the door. And the most frightening thing of all is the silence. No footsteps rushing down the stairs. No voice calling mom from the kitchen. No soft humming while doing homework. The mother walks through the house, hearing even the draft whisper through the cracks. Hearing her own frail heartbeat. The silence, heavier than any loneliness. There are nights when she wakes suddenly, certain she heard it. "Mom!" She leaps up, runs into the hall, only to find darkness. Her trembling feet carry her back to bed, where tears soak into the pillow. A friend once asked, "Why don't you clear out your child's belongings? Wouldn't it ease the burden?" The mother only shook her head. "If I put them away, I'm afraid I'll forget their voice calling mom. And I cannot bear a world that forgets my child." For many mothers, the greatest loss is not only the passing of a child, but the long silence that follows. The home that was once a sanctuary becomes an empty shell, where memories cut into the heart like a blade each day. Perhaps, as you hear lived, loved, endured, death feels like nothing more than a deep, natural sleep. What they truly fear is the silence. The silence of a house without the word mom. The silence at the dinner table, with only one bowl and one pair of chopsticks. The silence of a world outside still noisy with life, while inside, their world has lost its most essential peace. One grieving mother once said through tears, "People call me strong for living years after my child's death. But the truth is, every day feels like sitting in a room without sound. The frightening thing is not that I will die, but that I might live forever in this silence." The elderly mother no longer fears time. She has walked through youth, through middle age, grown accustomed to wrinkles and grey hair. But she will never grow accustomed to a world that is utterly quiet, where no one needs her, where no one calls her by that sacred name, Mom. That fear is silent, but it eats away at the heart faster than any disease. A geriatric doctor once said, "We can treat the heart, the lungs, the joints of the elderly, but we cannot prescribe medicine for loneliness. We cannot write a prescription to bring back the word mom." This fear makes many mothers live like shadows. By day, they smile, they talk politely, but at night, when darkness falls, they sit quietly, staring into the empty room, eyes searching the void. That is where silence spreads, heavy as a cold blanket over the soul. Perhaps you too have felt such silence in your own heart. Perhaps you too have lost someone and know that the greatest pain is not the moment of farewell, but the long days after, when the familiar voice is gone. And that is why we must cherish every sound in this life. A call, a greeting, a simple mom. Because once it disappears, the whole world sinks into a silence nothing can ever fill. Every week, on a certain afternoon, the elderly mother makes her way to the cemetery with the help of her cane. The narrow dirt path leads her to the familiar row of gravestones, the wind flipping over fallen leaves one by one. Her steps are slow, her hands trembling, but her eyes remain clear, shining, showing me your notebook. I still keep that notebook in the drawer. Your handwriting is still there, crooked but beautiful. My child, there are moments I ache so badly to hear you call me Mom. I turn on the radio, I turn on the TV, but no sound can replace your voice. Her hand trembles against the cold stone, a tear slips down her wrinkled cheek, falls into the soil, and sinks into the grass. They say cemeteries are silent, but for mothers who have lost a child, the cemetery is the only place where they can truly speak. At home, they must keep quiet because no one understands, but at the grave, they can say everything. They can speak of longing, they can speak of loneliness, they can speak of their desperate wish to hear Mom one more time. And even though they know no answer will come, the elderly mother still listens, as if a voice might return from another world. A passerby once witnessed this scene and later said, "She sat for hours, undisturbed. The wind moved her silver hair. Flowers fell against her shoulder. At times she smiled. At times she cried. At times she murmured as if answering someone. And I understood then, a mother's love does not end with death. It continues, one in this world, one in the next. For such mothers, the grave is not a place of separation, but a place of silent reunion. Every whispered word is a way of holding on to that call of Mom in memory, so that even if the world forgets, in her heart, that love remains whole, eternal, indestructible. There is one simple truth many people forget. No one else in the world will ever call you Mom except your child. And when that voice is gone, a mother's life becomes hollow, as if part of her soul has been taken away. Don't wait until the house is silent. Don't wait until the phone no longer rings. Don't wait until all you have left is a photograph and a grave. Call your mother. Call when you are happy, so she can share in your joy. Call when you are sad, so her familiar voice can comfort you. Call even when you are busy, just to say, "Mom, I'm okay. Don't worry." That alone is enough to give an old mother reason to feel needed, reason to live another day. The phone. Call your mother, even if it is only to say, "Mom, I love you," because you never know. That call may be your last chance. One day, every mother will face silence. No one to call her name, no footsteps in the hall, no laughter echoing through the house. But even when the sound disappears from this world, it lives on in a mother's heart. For a mother's love is not measured by how many times she is called, but by the love she has given. Unconditional, unending, infinite. A mother may stop breathing, but her love never dies. It continues in the veins of her children and grandchildren. It echoes in the memories of those who remain. It lives in the stories retold, in every candle lit, in every whisper. "Mom, I miss you." And for those whose mothers are still alive, remember, every time you call her Mom today, you give her a priceless gift she will carry to the end of her life. Do not withhold words of love. Do not let silence be the only thing left behind. If you have lost your mother, believe this. She still hears you, in your dreams, in the evening wind, in every heartbeat that aches with her memory. A mother's love does not end at the boundary of life and death. It surpasses time, surpasses space, to live forever. Perhaps now you see, the day a mother no longer hears anyone call her Mom is the day her heart bears a crack that never heals. But from that crack, love shines even brighter, reminding the world that a mother is the soul of every family, the source of life, the flame that never dies. Call your mother today. Hold her while you still can. Let the word mom be spoken once more, not only so she can hear it, but so you will never live with regret. A mother's love never dies. It only transforms. From a word into a memory, from a memory into eternal love. And as long as you remember, as long as you call her name, your mother is still there, forever in your heart.